9 a.m. Eastern morning call starts right now. Poof, it's morning call. Good morning. I'm Mark Ains at the New York Stock Exchange.
Happy New Year, Mark. I'm Liz Klayman at Cnbc Global Headquarters. We've got a flurry of big news on this first trading day of 2007. Number one, Bob Nardelli stepping down as chairman and CEO of Home Depot. He is out. The market's beginning a year on a very strong note. We already hit an intraday record high. The Dow hitting fresh all-time intraday highs within just the first few minutes of the market's opening. And we've also got a double dose of breaking economic news coming out right now. Institute for Supply Management Index for December is expected to show a reading of 50. That's the midpoint between manufacturing contraction and expansion. Also due out now, the government's construction spending figures for November. Let's get the numbers from CNBC senior economics reporter Stevie Leisman. Steve.
Thanks, Liz. Both numbers coming in a little bit better than expected. I have construction spending down 0.2. Economists had looked for a 0.4 decline, and the Institute for Supply Management's manufacturing report coming in at 51.4, it looks like. Economists had expected a 50. Inside the ISM, some pretty encouraging numbers. New orders ticking up to 52.1. Prices paid declining to 47.5 and 53. Employment about stable at 49.7. I want to talk very quickly, Liz, about the ADP report, which also seemed to rock, it really shocked markets this morning, calling for a minus 40,000 on jobs. There's the April Fed funds futures. We use that because it takes account for the first two meetings of the year. You can see it shot up on the ADP report, and stocks also apparently doing better on this data. The ADP report showing minus 40,000. That compared with a
Markets.
Yeah, we're looking good. We're up 70 points on the Dow right now. And earlier today, I believe the intraday chart, we'll show it to you when it comes up. We did hit a new intraday high of about 12,550 or so. You can see it just in the upper left-hand quadrant of the little hurricane. The NASDAQ is also doing nicely, up 1%, 23 points. And the S&P? Again, there's that intraday high so far, about 10 minutes into the session. Light sweet crude, that's good news today. Look at this, down $1.30. Whoa, rats. All right, $1.21. I think that chart will update in a moment to show you down $1.33. I'm getting a CLG. I've got a different number. I've got 59.72. But regardless, it's looking pretty good, down. Melissa Lee is walking around on the floor of the New York Stock Exchange, checking out today's action. Melissa.
Hi there, Mark. And that ISM number, as well as the construction spending number, providing some support to the markets. We look like we were fizzling just a touch after the open, approaching 10 o'clock until those numbers did come up. And now, as you mentioned, we're up by just about 70 points. But what a start to 2007 for stocks. Of course, the four-day stretch during which the markets were closed, the longest streak the markets were closed since September 11th. But today we are seeing some pretty broad-based gains in the markets. We're seeing brokers up, healthcare up, technology, particularly the semiconductors, up, and drug stocks are up. Take a look at drug stocks, in fact, and in particular Merck. Merck getting an upgrade this morning from Bear Stearns to an outperform from a peer perform. Bear also boosting estimates for 2007 to $2.64, also 2008 and 2009. They are saying that they see upside to several new products and that Januvia as well as vaccines are new pillars of growth. Those are Bear Stearns' words, helping to lift the entire drug sector. We're also seeing strength among the retailers. Really no surprise, because we got a bombshell this morning out of Home Depot. The news, of course, here that its CEO Bob Nardelli has resigned. And in fact, we should note, this is interesting, that a potential big winner out of this all is Bill Miller's Legg Mason Value Trust Fund. Remember, in 2006, Bill Miller ended his 15-year streak of beating the S&P 500. Well, in the third quarter, he actually raised the stake in Home Depot by just about 2 million shares. So it looks like Bill Miller could be winning on the Home Depot trade this morning. Scott Cohn as well as Charlie Gasparino, much more on the Home Depot story in just a moment. Meantime, Walmart also seeing a big pop, helping the Dow certainly after it posted better than expected December sales, also indicating that it might rethink the way it staffs shift workers in order to allocate them better to stores with more traffic. And take a look at the gap. We are putting this stock up there because it is up despite Citigroup this morning cutting its fourth quarter estimate, citing some margin pressures. The stock, though, trading higher in today's session. The weakness we are seeing in today's session mostly confined to the oil sector, oil stocks, as well as oil services. In particular, oil services. Take a look at this. Neighbors warning on the fourth quarter, citing weakening gas prices having a major impact on the entire sector. Liz, back to you.
Glad you mentioned Home Depot, Melissa, because it is quite a stunner this morning out of that company. Bob Nardelli stepping down as chairman and CEO of the world's largest home improvement retailer after 6 years on the job. Shares of the Dow component are jumping right now, currently trading up $1.51 or 3 3/4%, but at that price, $41.67. Just keep in mind that 5 years ago, the stock was at $54. CNBC senior correspondent Scott Cohn has more on this big change at the top of Home Depot.